Welcome, welcome. Happy Wednesday, everybody. I'm so grateful to be here with you. I literally just got in the door, out and about, and it's definitely warmer than usual here, but I really enjoy it. So it's just a matter of making sure you go and get a swim in or something to cool down. Could be putting ice on your feet. If you're hot, you can put ice on your feet. Drinking something cold obviously helps to cool the internal body. Putting stuff on your wrists as well can be really, really helpful. And today we have a special guest, and I see he's now in the back studio. So please welcome Mark back to the show. I'm so excited to have you, Mark.
Hey.
Hello.
A minute here.
Are you good?
Hi. Sorry, I got two things going on here. I can hear you twice. Doubled up here.
Okay. Have you got maybe YouTube open or something?
I think maybe that's what's going on. Oh, yeah. It stopped.
Oh.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks. Thanks for surviving the heat.
Yes, I was just commenting how putting ice packs on your feet and on your wrists can be really helpful for keeping you cool during these temperatures. Never mind getting down to some water, sitting by a river, dunking in the river, getting to the ocean, getting to a lake. Yeah.
Nice.
How about you?
Oh, good. I've got this like old farmhouse. Well, you've been to my place.
Yes.
And luckily it's like super well insulated. And as long as I keep all the windows and doors closed, it stays remarkably cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, so back in the day, they knew how to build stuff. It's quite good.
So being the tech person I am, just stand a little more to your right. There we go. That's it. Now you're centered.
Off kilter.
It's all right. We're all about to, do a pole shift, right?
I think it already happened for me.
Yeah. How are you've got new young chickens. How are they doing?
Well, they're good. They grow so fast these days, kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hatched a batch for the first time hatching ever on my own.
Yeah.
And that worked out really well. And then I have 100 chickens on pasture now. Free range.
Yeah.
Which I've never done before. So.
Yeah, you never know unless you try.
So far, so good. Yeah, exactly. That's
I saw some of your photos. So can you explain what that means? So you're taking the coop and moving the coop around? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, it's called a chicken tractor, and it's not like with a wheel and like that. It's a mobile chicken pen. So basically, think of a box, and then you flip it upside down, an open box, and then every day you move that pen 10 feet.
Yeah.
So every day they're on fresh grass.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of like a free range idea, except for they're protected by the coop, so no predators can get at them.
Right. And do you have predators in your area?
Mostly hawks and coyotes.
Yeah. Okay.
Thankfully, no bears, because bears
they get in there if they wanted to. Yeah.
They just flip it open and it'd be like snack time. So.
Right. And what age do chickens start laying hens? I don't even know.
Well, they'll start producing eggs at about 4 months.
Yeah.
And then if you have a rooster, they'll fertilize them.
Yeah.
And you can start hatching them out. So
are you planning on hatching them out?
What's your plan? Well, the ones that are on pasture, they're meat birds.
Yeah.
And then I have about 25 laying hens. So I have my own eggs, and then I'll have my own meat birds as well.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. Yeah.
Well, thanks. Well, so far, so good.
A feather father.
That's all.
You're a feather father.
I'm a chicken man around here now. So.
Super cool. I love it. Awesome. I was looking at your website earlier, and Mark's been on before. Do you want to just run through and remind everyone about what you do?
Okay. I'm energy healer and shamanic practitioner. I've been practicing the healing arts for about 49 years now, since I was 11 years old. And I base on mind, body, and spirit. I know a lot of people say that, but I actually do focus on each element and have protocols for the mind. What is my mind? My mind is a collection of my thoughts and interpretations and perceptions of my life experiences. It forms its own consciousness, breaks away from me, and is constantly trying to rule my world. It's trying to lead me forwards or backwards, or trying to take an experience that I'm having, like this one right now, and compare it to one I've had before, and make a judgment call, or just trying to get me to review past events. So every time I follow that mind, I'm really not here. My body is here, but my mind is absent. So I teach tools in order for us to keep our mind present, and also on the belief that the universe is a supply program. It's not judging me. It's just supplying me experiences based on what I'm thinking, saying, and doing. So if I'm not conscious of what I think and saying, doing, then I can not be surprised by if chaos comes back to me. So that's a little bit of my mind work in a snippet. And then my body work is based in quantum mechanics. So the idea that energy can exist in multiple places at the same time. And it's based at the cellular level. So if we can do anything like move our arms or any deliberate action with our body, it's actually the mind controlling the cells. So if I can command myself this way, what if I sustain a blow? Could I talk with my cells and tell them it's okay, you just sustain a blow and you can go back to your normal harmonious flow? Or if I get a cut or a wound, can I imagine my immune system responding immediately and watch it heal? And if I do that, will that wound heal quicker?
Yeah,
so absolutely. I am a firm belief that as we absolutely were born with that ability to repair ourselves and to repair others.
Absolutely, and support each other. Yeah. Do you want to, right? And can you explain your interpretation of the quantum mechanics or the quantum field? Like, what is quantum? What is quantum as you're talking about quantum?
Well, quantum is sort of the physics name for what shaman have been practicing with for thousands of years. Is the universe is malleable, so it follows thought and intention. So if my thought and intention is to heal you, and you are, say, in Africa and I'm in Vancouver, then the quantum field allows that energy to follow my thought to you, and for your cells to respond to my direction. So everything is one. It's all part of one field. It's interconnected, and it's completely malleable and driven by thought.
Yeah, absolutely. I was working with a client once who was having hot flashes. And I just asked her to go lie down while I was doing the work so that she was very present so she could pay attention. And she's like, I don't know what you did, but I had to get a blanket. So it just shows, right? I'm like, awesome. Thank you. Thank you for showing her it, right? Because often people need that confirmation so that they can believe, so to speak. Yeah.
Well, it's not taught. So it's we're actually taught that that's woo woo or just your imagination or positive wish that happens, or they call it the placebo effect. So absolutely, when confirmation comes through of that nature, it's great not only for the client, but it's also good for us as the practitioner. It's wonderful for us to know that we're having that influence.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's always helpful. I don't know. I find whenever I'm doing any sort of work with somebody, it benefits me too.
I completely agree. That collective consciousness, we're all kind of fingers down from the same pool. So if we fix somebody else, we're definitely fixing ourselves where we're at.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, hey, everybody watching, if you had something you wanted to have a little sample of being worked on today, or any questions at all, go ahead and feel free. Would love to support you there. And Carolyn's working in the background today, which is super beautiful. She's helping move comments from Rumble over to this. So just remember, watching on Facebook or watching on YouTube, which is our preferred method, is YouTube, so we can ramp up a little bit more on there, even though I know many of you are not fans of YouTube. We would appreciate the support over there if you can. and it benefits us in the long run. And what we're trying to shift our algorithm over there so we can reach more people, which is why we do these lives. And your support is greatly appreciated. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or wanted something work on, please let us know. That would be great. And I'm going to assume that that's Tango saying hi, Tanya and guests and soul family, love and light. I can almost tell by the tone of the comment who it is. And I wanted to also ask you in regards to sort of working with energy and frequencies, quite often our tone, our frequency of our body, and using certain tones, certain sounds, especially around the vowels, can be very healing for our own body. Do you have any information on that? Have you heard about this?
Well, if you go, you look at, for instance, Buddhist monks, and I don't know there are probably other Eastern philosophies that use tone as well. When they're chanting, not only what they're saying, but the tone of what they're releasing, that note is the idea that you're releasing that energy out into the universe, not only for healing yourself, but for putting that healing energy out into the world, into the collective. So that's a very ancient form.
Absolutely. And it's that reminder. So
forks, people use tuning forks in their healing practice as well. I don't personally, but there are lots of people.
I have tuning forks. Yeah, so there's quite a few biofield tuners that I know. And I'll use them directly on the body just to shift energy if I need to as an extra vibration, so to speak. Yeah, it can be really beautiful for activating. We've got Andrea on here who's seeking to shift some anger.
Oh, okay. Well, it's absolutely wonderful, 100% natural to be angry. It's to be sad, to be upset. Any of those emotions are completely legitimate because, emotional response to me in my mind means that I'm experiencing something. It's the universe or life telling me to pay attention. Yeah. This is important. So it's perfectly natural to have that anger. But as you say, you want to shift it. We want to release it. We want to return it and give it back to creation, to your higher power theory, whatever that is, and the idea of transmuting it and giving it back. So 2 ways we can do that is we can actually, imagine ourselves removing that from our field and offering it back to the light, taking it out of our field. And the other way is to ask, if we're a little bit overwhelmed, ask for that higher power theory, can you please remove this from my field? And then imagine that happening.
Yeah.
So a great way is, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead. You're doing great.
One way we can do it is we can imagine that those angry thoughts are like weeds in the garden, and we're going to weed the garden. So when I have that thought, say I'm driving down the road and somebody, gets aggressive with me and they drive on by me, my first instinct is like, ah. But now I'm energetically connected to that person. When I'm focused on them and I'm angry, I'm actually feeding them my energy and I'm draining myself. So I've made an energetic connection to whatever that is that's made me angry. And there's an old philosophy that as soon as you think about something, now you've connected with it. If you're ruminating on it, you're rooting into it. And if you really fixate on it, now it's starting to get really deep into your field. So before that happens, that event, I like to picture where's that connection. You can feel it. It's either maybe here, here, here. And I pull out that energetic cord and I offer it up to the light. Imagine the light comes down, transforms it into thousands of little white butterflies. You can use puppies, unicorns, ice cream cones, whatever works for you. And I see those fly up the channel back to creation, back to become something useful, productive, and healing once again. I thank them for their lessons, and then I just let it go. Yeah. And you may have to do that several times because the mind may want to bring it back around because it's juicy, it's dramatic. Anytime it comes, I just imagine I can pull it, and again, I just repeat that process until it just becomes a memory and I can let it go.
Right. And so I'm just going to pull back her original comment. I happen to know Andrea. So Andrea, when you say I need this anger to shift, sometimes anger can be a driver for change and for shifting. So it's you're being shown, I don't like this. I don't want this. This is frustrating. This is making me angry. Okay. So what are the steps we need to do to move through this constant anger button that this happens with, right? So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there with it as well. And for me, anger often is the color red, which is the root chakra, which is my safety and security is being threatened. My base needs of my life are being threatened, so to speak, or being attacked. And so then therefore, can you visualize that color red, and where do you feel the that anger in your body? And then you can expand it, and then release it out of your body somewhere. So there's many ways of doing this. Mark and I are just saying 2 different ways of doing it. I like the puppies and the butterflies too. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And we've got freedom, liberty lover. Physically, I want my back and neck to release the tension and pain to dissolve. I know I'm dreading back to school in session in the last week of July, but we're not at the last week of July yet. You can go have some fun. Yeah, absolutely. Mark, you want to comment on that one? Do you want to see it again?
Okay, so with like, for instance, a tension in the neck or shoulder, again, it's usually it's either going to be injury related. I've done something, I twisted something, I picked something up the wrong way, or it is telling me that I've collected too much tension through the thought process, and now the body is speaking the mind. So let's examine, do you have tension over relationships? Do you have tension over going back to school because you don't think you're ready for it, or payment is going to be a problem? Whatever, let's explore the root of that if it's not a physical thing that you've done to yourself. So the body speaks the mind, as I said. So maybe find out whether, I'm having a little bit of tension lately. So let's look at the psychological. What can we change about the way that we're thinking and acting? And then if we change that, we raise our vibration, we might find that the neck gets a little better and the shoulders are a little bit easier now. And then next thing you know, it feels a little bit better. Another way too is that when we find that we're restricted in our movement and out in any direction, if you make a small movement with the neck, you'll find that there's a little movement that you can make that doesn't hurt. There's a little window, maybe it's 1/4 of an inch either direction. So oftentimes we get an injury, we're afraid to move, and we actually keep that up, and that's not what we need to do. We need to actually move it. We need to get the blood flowing. We need to have that energy moving through that. If we are afraid to move it, we're gonna cause a blockage, an even bigger blockage. So what I suggest you do is you find that little sweet spot where you can actually move your shoulder and it doesn't hurt. And just stay in that spot, move it back and forth and back and forth. And what you might find is that sweet spot gets a little bigger, a little bigger, a little bigger, a little bigger. And the next thing you know, the energy is flowing again, the blood is flowing again. And again, repetition is often required. So you might have to do that a few times a day, every day, but then you'll get that movement back.
All right. Yeah, all of you. So whoever's on the call today, if you just want to type in, I accept, and I'll send some energy over to you to help with this. Wanted to add, yeah, absolutely, Andrea. That works. So freedom, liberty, lover. When we've got something that we don't want to do, so now you're ruining your now moment, right? So when we stay present, what do you need to do to release that dread? Staying present, because it's ahead. Now you're ruining another 2 weeks. No. Claim that power back and focus on what do you need to do to kind of put that to rest. If there's something you can work on every day for like 20 minutes, half an hour to get ready for that, great. If it's an all-out, I hate this, put yourself on a timeline on when you can get through this and maybe move on to something else. Absolutely. And so, there's certain aspects of my Powell painting job that are not my favorite. They're not things that I want to do, but I really move through it quickly. That one's a sticking point. Okay, why is that a sticking point? Oh, that's because of this. So what can I do to put steps to add more joy into it, or to shift up my day when I know I couldn't imagine being a teacher. So all the power to you. Going to school on a regular basis on that schedule. And why at the end of July? It's summer. For us, we're July and August off. So you must have June and July. And try and find some things that are good and something you can be grateful for to help to shift that energy. Yeah,
Oh, can I
absolutely.
speak to that one?
Please.
Okay. So the mind, again, back to that
Yes.
always trying to take me out of the moment. In this case, it's trying to take her forwards. So a little exercise you can do to stay in the now whenever your mind starts to give you, next week or next month's problems, is a little exercise that I like to do. Set a timer, even for 60 seconds, and just repeat out loud, I will not project forwards. I will not review the past. I will not project forwards. I will not review the past. So if you do that just for 60 seconds, you're going to find out that two things happen. One is you can breathe. And second of all, is you start to recognize what is the mind and what is the self. The self is doing an exercise. The mind is what's kind of trying to crash the party and say, well, this is dumb. This is silly. How's this ever going to work? But by repeating just a single thing, single-minded, you actually are in the moment. You stay in the present. So you can take a little reprieve of something that is dread in the future, get yourself some calm, and then collect yourself, and then do exercises like Tanja is suggesting, so that you don't follow the mind. The mind doesn't have you living in the future. You can stay in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And breathing in through the nose, count of 4, and then out for a count of 6 with a small pause, making sure that you be the breath, because then your mind has got something to focus on and mind, some people call it the ego, but you're working with your mind. You want to balance that mind, body, spirit. It's really, really important. No, Tango, you don't get any. You're good. He jumped on after a nap the other day and listened to a replay, and I activated him. He's like, I don't know how you do that. I'm like, sometimes, yeah, it's the way it goes. Absolutely. I was on your website and I noticed that you've got another practitioner on there now. Tell me more.
Oh, I've taken on a student.
Yes.
I've always thought about, many people over the years like, oh, do you teach? And I'm like, I don't know. So I've actually taken on a student, an apprentice actually of sorts, and
Beautiful.
going under the old premise of, it's not just a 6-week course and away you go and here's your diploma. It's a 4-year apprenticeship. You can't follow a carpenter around for a couple of weeks and then know how to build a house.
No.
So we're 1 year in, and she's got tremendous skills, and it's quite challenging, but it's also quite exciting to be able to transfer what I do to another person and watch them grow with it.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Congratulations. I know you were talking about it last time we spoke, so yeah, that's incredible. Awesome. I wanted to also ask you specifically today, so energetically, are you in tune with what's the planets aligning or full and new moons? Do you pay attention to that at all, or is it out of your wheelhouse, so to speak?
No, I'm really not. I'm so in this world, and
Yeah.
I so love my astrological friends, and they're always sending me, buckle up. You're gonna get your ass kicked, and wonderful, but also beautiful messages as well.
Yeah.
I'm just having fun with them because they do that a lot.
Yeah.
And I have great respect for it. I've had people, friends do charts for me, and they're like blazingly accurate. But it's never been my focus. It's
Yeah.
I'm always sort of like in this realm.
Right. And that's a reminder too for everyone that whatever you focus your intention on, you're going to get more of, as Mark was saying with the driver, right? Once you, whether it doesn't matter what emotion it is, once you've activated where your attention goes, your intention goes, and energy flows. And so it'd be,
and it's coming back.
yeah.
This is like an echo.
Right. And so I'm very not cautious. I just go by how I feel in the moment. I'm not too worried about what's going on externally. So I've definitely felt, because I'm a Cancer Leo, depending on if it's Eastern or Western. So in the Eastern timeline, I'm Cancer, and in the Western one, I'm Leo. And I kind of bridge both. I'm like, yeah, I'm just not letting that define me either. So I'm just me.
Well, I can honestly say that the moon messes with me big time.
Okay.
So I'm a big believer in the planetary systems and all of the stars and all that stuff. Yeah, I have great respect for those who practice it. But yeah, I mean, I can tell when it's the full moon coming on. It's like, why is the brain fog happening today, or why am I not functioning like I normally do? And I don't really track the moon, so and then somebody will say, "Oh, hey, what do you do for the full moon?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, there we go. That explains it."
Yeah, absolutely. Lately on the full moons, I've been at Vedette Lake, which has been very fun, so to speak. Yeah, and then new moons. We were just there for the new moon too. Yeah, I've been for some reason I douse all events, right? And I keep dousing and they keep ending up on a new moon or a full moon. I'm like, okay. And Norma's like, how did you plan that? I'm like, I didn't. I just douse it and I just pick the date and then away we go, right? So there's auspicious days for traveling or for connecting in a group, creating a circle, having a lodge, right? Having that beautiful experience of purging and cleansing, so to speak. And it's a nice time to do it. But yeah.
And such an ancient timeline, that gathered always. Planted harvests, before there was the grind calendar and the clock, and it was the moon. So it was completely cyclical based on the phases. So, that's stamped into our DNA. That's so far back.
Yeah, and that's the sun and the moon, right? Because it just depends on which, is it light or is it dark, which is that whole reminder around the masculine, feminine bridging, right? Creating the yin yang and balancing, because it is a balancing act. You can't have one without the other.
No, that's absolutely true.
Yeah, absolutely. What else did I want to ask you about? Anything? What are you having fun doing right now besides the chickens? What have you been doing for fun to bring you joy?
Yeah, the farming thing has been great. It's something, since I was an 8-year-old boy, I used to go visit my cousins, all lived on farms. And I was a city boy in a little postage stamp middle class lot, which was great. But I was kind of envious of them and their animals and their place to roam. So really, I just like the 8-year-old in me is like so happy right now, just playing farm boy and that pretty much takes it up. I would say, as far as the fun goes, I go out and see my daughters. We kind of get together and have that. And I'm going to be a grandfather. I found out in November for the first time, so pretty excited about that.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds you how to be a kid again, and what a great space you have for a young one to run around too. Yeah.
I'm it's funny because I'm like, kind of decide what kind of grandfather I'm going to be, and so I've come up with I'll just be the fun grandpa.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. There was a point my mom, being the mom she is, was mothering Jade a bit, and she turned around and said something, and Jade's like 5 or 6, and my mom says, "I told you so." And I just looked at her and I said, "No, no, this isn't why we're going to play this game. You're supposed to be fun grandma, and I get to be the mom. And I don't say I told you so, because that's not how we talk in this house." Yeah.
Nobody likes to hear that.
No, that's how I was raised. So we'll just leave that at that. But it was one of those points where I'm like drawing the line in the sand. And then it was a struggle. She was actually helping take Jade to daycare. And, and I ended up just saying, you know what, it's okay. I got this. I'm just going to augment my schedule and make sure I can do this. Hoping to help my mom feel maybe needed a little bit, but she's on her own path. So, but that was a long time ago because Jade's 18 now. So yeah.
It's all gonna be brand new to me, and I'm usually big with the advice. I mean, that's what I do for a living is advise. Right? So it's gonna be like
right. Yeah, one of my favorite things about younger kids, and I love hanging out with them because they're just so open and honest. they're not hiding anything. They're not being careful about what they say because what somebody might think. They just spit stuff out or they ask questions. And, it's always such a beautiful gift. And there's so many coming in right now, especially if you ask them, do you remember where you were before now? And a lot of them do. And they might be
Oh,
like,
I love that.
right. They might. So
Good
when he's
question.
old enough to start talking, yeah, and to have that opportunity to expand on that, because for quite a few stories around, you know, well, I have a good friend of mine who's claimed, though this is my grandfather for sure, and we had a big discussion about it. And was like, makes sense because certain things he says, or a look in his face or his eyes sometimes, right? And then we say eyes are the window to the soul. So yeah, it's pretty fascinating, and I look forward to seeing more of this because a lot less kids are now going to school and being homeschooled. And so we're seeing this shift in time of
Oh,
this more of an
what a
opening,
gift.
allowing kids to just be kids. Oh, your job
What
as a kid is to be like,
also gift.
hurry up and grow up, quit, right? All these rules come in. It's like, just be a kid, enjoy the heck out of it. And then
Well,
do that with your entire life.
what I love about children, and you can see the difference between a child and an adolescent, and especially an adult, is when we're little, we're on our own side.
Yeah.
We don't pick on ourselves. We don't
No.
we don't judge ourselves. And when you do that, when you don't judge yourself and you're on your own side, I mean, anything is possible. And the imagination is just so powerful. When when you're thinking you're a pirate and you're a kid, you're not thinking you're a pirate. You are a pirate. You can
Right.
hear the bell going, you can smell the sea, you can hear the seagulls going, and that level of escape, that I believe that's the connection to the other side. It's so strong when we're young. And I love that. Unfortunately, we that kind of fades and we lose it a little bit. But as adults, we have the choice to claim it back again with practice.
Look at the world with childlike wonderment. It's funny because when my brother was little, now I don't remember my younger years the way I remember him because I was the older sister, about 4.5 years older. But in the summertime, he had a friend that he motorcycled with, right? And then he had a friend that he also snowmobiled with in the winter. And so if you walk through a certain part of the house and you knocked over the motorcycle, you got a scolding. It's like, dude, I can't see it. I didn't know it was there. You just need to tell me. You're gonna have to like tape out an area or something so we know. Anyways, but he is in it to win it for sure. And it was really, I look back on it as something super beautiful. He was also the kid that, if you put him in front of the TV and he was watching something, you had to go stand directly in front of him to unplug his mind from going right into that TV. So it's quite fascinating. And then he played Dungeons and Dragons, and he still does. And he's, 4.5 years younger than me. And I think that's fascinating that he's always kept up part of that childhood piece. Yeah, I love it. I think it's important.
Good for him that he's managed to hang on to that imagination.
Right? Well, and then there's me. So the world's a lot more like that than it is like the way you think it is. And then I walk away. So we have these little light discussions back and forth. Yeah. The other day he was like, so what's the most recent conspiracy theorist? I'm like, oh, you just have to watch the news. Go watch the news. You'll see it there. Yeah. Just keep paying attention. I said,
no shortage.
Right? No shortage. No shortage at all. You just have
yesterday's conspiracy theory does become today's truth as well. So we're kind of running out of them, I think.
Right? We are absolutely. Yeah. It is a cool question to ask a kid. Absolutely. And so if you know somebody who's got a young child and it's young enough that it's talking, but you'd be surprised when they're in imagination phase what will come out of their mouth. Yeah, it's quite beautiful. And I always encourage, like, if somebody's like, as adults, we're way too serious. And this is one of like my goals is what can you do to be fun and playful? And I'd be the first one doing silly things so I can laugh at myself and so everyone else can laugh at me too, so that we can like shift a mood or change a mood or go on an adventure or go to the beach, right? I posted a photo in our Telegram group of us in the chair, and Norma didn't know I took the photo until much later. You're so sneaky. And I was like, I wasn't being sneaky. You were just writing your book. You were paying attention. So just really, what do you need to do to bring joy? And so I walk my mom's little dog all the time because that dog lights people up. I can be walking that, if I'm walking by myself, nothing happens. I walk that little dog and she's really cute. And lots of people have seen her photo. She's like, looks like a little Ewok. And then she looks like a gremlin if she's being bad. But just the joy that that little dog brings to people. And it's a reminder, what can you do to bring more joy to your life? Because when I bring joy to other people like that, it lights me up. She's like a little walking smile, like smile machine. She makes everyone smile.
Well, you can, you can put a smile on your face. There's a wonderful test they tell people to do. Put a smile on your face, even if you don't feel like it.
Right.
And just walk around with this grin on, even if you're like, oh, I feel like it. Just experiment. Walk around with this grin on and watch how many happy people find you.
Right.
And acknowledge you, like, hey, let's go.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
Then, just for the sake of science, walk around the next day with a solemn look on your face, and you won't find any happy people. They can't find you. So just by changing my vibration with a smile, which is like an instant uplift,
absolutely,
energy, it will be reflected back to me by other people that are of that same energy.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to embarrass Jade because we'd be out in public and I would compliment people. Hey, I really like your red skirt. Or when somebody stood out as like being a little, I would always compliment them, or I'd compliment a haircut. Mom, why are you talking to strangers? And then one day somebody complimented Jade, and it wasn't me. And she went, oh, now I get it. And I'm like, see?
Nice.
Because it means so much when somebody goes out of their way to compliment you, right? It makes you feel good. Yeah.
It's, in Vancouver, you hear quite often, people are closed off. It's really hard to meet people. People don't want to be approached. I used to have that opinion. I really did. I thought, wow, this is an unfriendly place. But really what it was is I wasn't being friendly. My vibration wasn't very high. And it was, and so everyone's avoiding me that is high vibration. So all I'm seeing is other people that are low vibration as well. And of course, they're not approachable. They're not really happy. They really, they're stuck in their heads with their attachments. So that's what's being reflected back to me. The minute I raise my vibration, I go out and I even just say the word fun.
Yeah.
Just like, again, set a timer, 60 seconds. Say the word fun, 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 fun with enthusiasm. Or pick any word, love, peace, joy. Your vibration is going to go up. You're going to start smiling. Your brain's going to give you a hit of dopamine. You're going to feel great. And the universe is just going to reflect that back to you. Next thing you know, you're going to start meeting people that are upbeat and do want to share and are looking for interaction. So we have to be careful about what we, judging places before we really look at ourselves and see what energy we're carrying forwards.
Absolutely, because the only energy you can control is really yours. And then by shifting yours, you can shift the environment or what you attract towards you. Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%. Everything is energy. Every person, place, or thing, and we're constantly exchanging with it. So, if we lift our energy up, if we raise our vibration, we not only change ours, but we change everything we come in contact with. Every person, place, or thing. Somebody who's low vibration, they're going to feel that high vibration, and somewhere in there, that's going to register with them, and it's going to help them without even saying the word to them. Or Absolutely. If we're in a place, our high vibration is going to be left as a signature behind us. And somebody else is going to walk into it and go, I like this place. This feels good.
Right.
It's picked up on the energy we left behind.
Yeah.
So every word, every thought, every action that I have is going to affect everything I come in contact with.
Absolutely. I love it. I just wanted to comment for Freedom here regarding, I like hearing the joy of you speaking of your brother. My brother has passed on the other side and I miss him, but I enjoy feeling your emotions of joy. If you have joyous memories, talk to him, relive those and talk to him and ask him for a sign. He's still with you. Absolutely. He's there to support you. Ask him to help with the tension that you're having right now. Yeah, absolutely. And I keep getting, go get your feet in some water to help you out, like a river or a lake if you can, or even just a cool tub of water, and put your feet in that and just ask for it to be drawn out of you. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And where you're living is out in White Rock, correct?
Yeah, just outside of White Rock, South Surrey.
Yeah. And so do you spend much time at the beach there?
I do a little bit, yeah. I go to East Beach, which is just off the Native Reserve there, and First Nations Reserve, and it's just a great spot. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's wonderful. Because
Yeah.
you have a lot of fires there. You can sit down with your guitar, and if you're kind of like discreet about it, you can have a beer.
Yeah.
It's really laid back. It's wonderful, and it's a great place to watch the tide roll in and away. My kids were raised there. Really, we used to go there every summer and park a cooler and umbrella with lawn chairs and just let them go. It's
Yeah.
a great spot.
Oh, beaches are the best. There's always some. We found it was a shark head the other day at Ambleside, which is in West Van here, but it was upside down. No, it was right side up, and it was it had been on the water for a while, and it kind of we're looking at it, I'm like, what is that? And you could just see the small head. So, but it kind of looked like either a really big snake head, maybe a turtle head, and then I'm like, no, it's got fins underneath. But then as soon as we flipped the head over, you could see the mouth, right? You know how sharks have that mouth that's kind of like that. And we're like, oh, somebody got a shark. So somebody caught a shark and looked like it cut off its neck, or maybe a propeller. I highly doubt that though. But yeah, so you never know what's at the beach. And then always hunting for those little baby crabs.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Or the live ones. Yeah.
And my kids live for that.
Right?
Really. Hunting baby crabs, then you put them in their hands and they
yeah, right. Yeah, Jade loves those ones. And then until we went to Savory, and in Savory there's a bay at Indian Point, and it's very shallow for a long ways out, which gives you different layers as the tide goes out. You can go and
you get those
layers of stuff going on. Yeah. But she was in the water one day and saw a spider crab, and they've got those really long legs. And I don't like those. It's funny, she's got a real thing about spiders. We've decided there must be a spider realm somewhere, and that she had a lifetime there, or got trapped there at some point or something. Yeah. Yeah. What did she call? She caught one in her room underneath a glass in the morning. She's like, I got Big Butt Bob in here. I need you to get him out.
Well, good for her for at least catching him and having the guts to go after him. That's great.
Right? Instead of screaming for me to wake up. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually they just run.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, thanks, guys. I am, by nature, a happy person. I won't say that I wasn't a little bit scratchy earlier. I call it scratchy. Trying to figure out, when you're trying to running a business, as you know, Mark, and your mind does want to work. It wants to be put to work and figure things out. But sometimes what you try and figure out, it's like not going anywhere. So at some point you just got to let it all go and go, you know what? Chuck it in the fucking bucket. This is out of my control right now. And I'm just going to give it the 24-hour rule, and let's see what happens then. Or guide me, show me what else am I supposed to focus on, or shift, or do a different way. And I've been finding that that's been pretty strong lately, because things are shifting quite quickly. Directions, energies, whatever you want to call it. And it's quite profound, really. Yeah. How have you been going how's it going with your business?
Well, I'm in the that balance that the artist has, the practitioner has. You just want to practice. And do I have to market? Do I really have to? You go what they call roller coaster marketing, which is you have the rich vein of clients, and you think, wow, this is going great, and then you either fix them or you don't fix them, and then they move on, and now you're looking for new clients. So I'm in that phase now where I'm just making sure that I focus on having a nice, smooth, steady influx of customers and clients that I can serve. So that's challenging for the practitioner. Because we oftentimes just think, I just want to do my work. I shouldn't have to do marketing, and it's really kind of like this bratty entitlement sort of attitude that you got to like, back to that, give it back to the light, and just do the work, learn what the work is, learn what's required of me, and don't complain. It's just work. Stop judging it and just do it. So that's where the phase that I'm in now. And it's actually, and back to what you're saying is I found myself being pretty grouchy the last couple of days.
Yeah.
What's going on? That's not me. I'm usually pretty good at this thing. I work at it all the time. I'm thinking, oh, it's fear. I'm afraid of this next step. I've built it all up. I've built the car. It's all shiny. It's ready for me to jump in and take it for a drive. But there's fear of actually doing it. So, I've kind of had to practice what I preach and realize that, fear is okay. It just means I'm going to do something important. And, there's a fine line between fear and excitement, and just erase that line and change the fear and shift it into excitement. So
I call it nervous-sighted. I just nervous-sighted.
Economize those words.
Right? Oh, I had to especially for mountain biking, because mountain biking, it's like, we all know what to do here, people, mind, body, and spirit. We got this, right? But when you're doing something new or a new run, it's like, we're nervous-sighted. Let's have some fun. We're just excited. We're nervous because we haven't done it before. It's something new. Same with elevating and shifting a business. And I think one of the biggest challenges for me, having bootstrapped a business from the ground up to be at a certain level, and then kind of pulled it back a bit because it was like, I don't want this type of client. No, we're just going to really be more boutique. And then creating this new business, like, I don't want to play this game the way they're playing the game. I don't want to be marketing the same way. I don't want to be showing up. I don't want to play this game because this is a game that is an old game to me. And to me, it's a bit of I want the new model. Let's go. Let's bring in this new energy and new ways of bartering and percolating and connecting with new people that are the right frequency for us to shift that vibration versus, you got to do marketing, you got to pay for ads, and they got to be like this, and you got to do that, or you got to do that. No, I can't do it.
No, and that's not the route. I've done that route, and it doesn't
feel good. It
doesn't feel good, and the results are not great. So what I've taken to do is I've got a doctor's office, an MD in White Rock, and
pollinating.
I worked with him and helped him with some health issues, and so now he's referring clients to me, and I'm helping his clients with, especially the ones that he can't do spirit work with because he doesn't practice shamanic practice. So I'm able to help out on that spirit aspect. And I have another naturopathic clinic in Edmonton do distant work with. So that's sort of my push now, is to find other practitioners of the conventional and naturopathic doctors. So, and also, other practitioners as well, like chiropractors. So when something comes into their realm that's just not in their wheelhouse, they can refer it to me.
Yeah, beautiful. And naturopaths too, because I think naturopaths would be a good fit as well. No?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm working with one in Edmonton, and it's just going great.
Yeah.
The shamanic aspect is coming back around. People are learning what it is, and they're curious about it. And spirit health has been, we talk about the mind. We got to have our mind right.
Yeah.
Body, we got to exercise and eat right. But who really talks about what is spirit health? What's the core of it, and how do we go about it? How do we make sure our spirit is healthy?
Right.
And to me, spirit is my natural form. This is my unnatural form. It's my avatar. It has a best before date and an expiry date. And I believe my true lifetime is the evolution of my soul, my spirit, over many incarnations. And this one is just a chapter in that story. So if I'm concerned about the health of my thoughts and my mind and my body, I also have to be focused on the health of my spirit. So I've been practicing for a long time, and I have some wonderful tools. So it's really great when, a medical doctor who came inside my live show at the wellness show, and he saw me do some shamanic spirit work, and he just came running right up to me. He was just like, how did you do that? He was just full of questions. So I practiced on him. He's a great believer in it now. So little by little, spirit is sort of creeping through the door and making its way into the realms of the medical system, which is really fun.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. Definitely. And have you been doing more lives on Facebook?
I haven't been doing really the lives online. I do Zooms,
Yeah.
but usually with one-on-one with clients.
Yeah.
I did the wellness show.
Yes.
And then I did live presentations on the stage, which
Yeah.
and that was like huge fun for me, and it was very well received. So we're going back there again for next year's show, and then I got invited to an exclusive healing show at the Fairmont Waterfront Hotel in September.
Beautiful.
And it's not one that you pay to get into and rent a booth. They just like pick people that they think fits the imagery they're trying to portray to their own staff and clients. So I got invited to do that show. So that should be fun as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So knowing, guys, that this is not limited to space and time, remember that, Mark can absolutely go to Toronto, right? And book with people in Toronto, because once people realize that the energy is viable, that it's available to anyone, anywhere. It is not constricted by time and space. And I always use the example of like a cell phone or your Wi-Fi connection. You don't see the wire going up into the sky. It just
the divine is definitely not restricted by space and time. Only we are.
Right.
Most of my clients are, 99% of the work I do is distant, and I've got clients around the world, and for many years now. So it's last 16, 17 years.
Yeah.
Australia, UK, you can pretty much name every continent. I've had clients over the years. So it's, whether that person is right beside you and on a healing table, or whether they're on the other side of the earth in a different time zone, it does not matter.
Beautiful. Absolutely. I want to go back to one of these comments because I'd like to get to the comments. So this is interesting. I used to have really bad spider phobia, acrophobia. Acrophobia. I'm not going to try and read what she wrote. Right? Acrophobia. But when I learned that they're messengers and all different ones have different messages, now they literally don't bother me anymore. And so are you getting messages when you see the spiders? I don't get messages from spiders. I kick them out of my house. In my house, you go outside. Yeah. In fact, we've been communing a little more with nature around here. And so rather than throwing food out, it's like, oh, this isn't really good anymore. And it's small things, but it's important, right? I'm like, oh, where's our friendly crow? Because we started feeding the crow in the spring a few months ago when the crow had a nest in our backyard and it was dive bombing everyone. I'm like, no, not us. Imprint this. I'm feeding you. I'm on your side. And we never got dive bombed. So that worked really well. And then because we put food out on, there's like a wall between the road and our place, and there's some grass, beautiful trees. So we put on this little wall. Yesterday, Jay goes, Mom, I just saw a rat on the wall. I'm like, oh, not surprising considering we're putting food out. And then I feed the birds. And then, of course, all the squirrels come with the birds. You cannot have one without the other. Those squirrels are in it to win it. And there was baby squirrels. So we had all these little squirrels running around. And they're quite cute. Like, honestly, as long as they stay in their lane, so to speak. Even though I put food down on the ground for them, they're still going to climb to get at the rest of it, which I find fascinating. And so it's just a matter of living in harmony, right?
The race is on between the squirrels, the rats, and the crows.
Right?
Who gets there first?
Right? Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Killed it. It came back bigger. This happened a few times until I realized it was a message to do with family. Well done. Okay. I'm going to ask Jade if messages are coming in with her spiders. Thank you for replying to that. Absolutely. Yeah. And then we've got, thanks for coming on, Terry. Good to see you, or know that you're there, so to speak. I can't see you, but we know you're there. Absolutely. And Andrea has a fear of wasps and bees. I love bees. They don't bother me at all. Were you stung as a kid? Yeah. And wasps don't really bother me as long as if nature just stays, comfortably in the lane that we're we're working along together. Everybody deserves to be in the energy, right, Mark?
Well, a really interesting way to perceive it is the shamanic way, which is
cool. Let's hear it.
Everything has a spirit. So that
Yes.
spider is a spirit having a physical experience, and the wasp is, and so is the bee, and so is everything else. So instead of fearing it, imagine you can connect with it. Because when we're in the spirit realm, our natural form, I don't have this and you don't have this. So how do we communicate? You think, I feel. So somebody thinks about me, I go, oh, I feel that Tanya's thinking about me. Oh, so I'll think back in return, and you'll feel that in return. So that's our natural form of communication, is telepathy. But in this realm, we're given 5 senses, so we completely forget these are not forms of communication. So if you see a wasp or a bee or a spider, just think that you can communicate and just say, I acknowledge you, spirit. I see you there. What's it like to be a spider?
Yeah.
And I promise you, if you do that, you're going to be surprised how that spider will all of a sudden stop.
Because it can feel your energy.
Because you're thinking about it. I have one of my goats, Odie is his name. All I have to do is think about him, and he'll just put his head up wherever he is and come over.
Yeah.
And I could be anywhere in the farm, and I just think of him, and he knows it, and he just comes. So that's telepathy as our form. So try that. Try talking to the spider instead of like thinking he's like evil and going to kill you. He's just a spirit, just like you.
Right. Right. And because of where I live too, and I used to leave my back door open for my cat, and I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd be like, that's not a cat. What's going on downstairs? And I just listen for a minute, and you can hear click, 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 click. I'm like, oh shit, what's in the house? They go downstairs and there's a whole family of raccoons washing their hands in the water bowl, eating the cat food. I'm like, oh no. And so the cat had to go out a window after that. But I also had a skunk at one point too, because you're like, give it a week. And then I'm like, okay, well, if I put this here and block it, then he can still get in and out, right? No, the next week it was a skunk. And I'm like, no, we're done. I stood on the stairs that time and I was like, that's not the raccoons. That's not a cat. Oh shit. Dude, get out. I just yelled at it and it left. Escape that spray.
Oh yeah, sprayed in the house. My goodness, that'd be a tough one.
Right? So it's a matter of being firm enough. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Telepathy with your dog. Yeah, Cindy, absolutely, 100%. And it's dogs are super perceptive, so are cats. But imagine that everything is like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That same concept with everything.
Even plants. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, everything. Everything is a spirit.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. And yes, Michelle, that's why there's a circus of squirrels out there. Yeah. So they're having fun, and they all party in the tree right there. So yeah. Yeah. Oh, cats always know. My cat tries to tell me it's dinner time 247. Doesn't work. So we got one of those. Awesome, Mark. So let's get your website up here. Let me just grab the banner. I actually should have you on here from a previous time. Dun, 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 dun. No, I don't see it. Hold on. Let's just create one. It's your name, right?
Or you can find me at yourperfecthealing.com.
Ooh, you got a new one. Perfect.
Yeah, it's a little easier to remember because you can find me at marklemohr.com. People are like, I don't know how to spell that.
Right.
But if I say Your Perfect Healing, and the reason I came up with that idea is that I want people to tell me what is your perfect healing, because what is my perception for me and my needs based on my experiences that have brought me to this point are going to be different than yours and different than the next person along. So I always try and personalize it based on the conversation that I have with somebody about what their needs are. Let's tailor something for you. Yeah,
absolutely. Beautiful. Read the book that knows when you're, yes, absolutely. Dogs that know when their owners are coming home. Beautiful.
So horses.
Yeah, everything, right? They pick up. Horses are
into the driveway for me,
Right? Oh, and horses are prey animals, so they're highly attuned to energies. Yeah.
Whoa, their life depends on it. I mean, we're kind of dumb. We're really dumbed down to it because of our lifestyle. Back when we were, in a village, and we were susceptible to attack from any, different direction and different things, animals or other tribes. We are highly in tune. So that's a natural instinct that we possess as mammals, animal based. But we've lost it. But the animals rely on it. They constantly, just at a glance, can read your energy and figure, friend or foe, should I run, should I stay?
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. Do you work with animals as well?
I do. Yeah, I love working with
animals. Tell us a little about that before we wrap up.
Well, working with animals is kind of like working with infants in the sense that, when you fix them and you see them better, it's great because it's, somebody can say, oh, you said something and they believed it and it was a placebo effect. Like a lot of people try and discredit things. Not everybody, and not a lot of people, just, that percentage. So when it's a child or an animal, it's just, indisputable. When you, work on a horse or you work on a cat, I work with animals that are special needs in the sense they have psychological disorders, behavior disorders. And it's really just, something's happened, they have a trauma and they're not processing right. And you can't explain it to them. You can't, reason with them.
You can't talk them out of it.
Yeah. Let's
right. On therapy talk.
Let's put them on the couch and, tell me about your mother. No, we can't do that. So we're reaching them at the spirit level. We're reaching them at the atomic level, at the cellular level, and we're helping them overcome fear. So I've worked with horses that have had, fear issues, anger issues. I've worked with dogs and cats that have fear issues, and it's really amazing. And then of course, flesh and bone is the same for them as it is for us. If you can heal a wound in a person, you can heal a wound with any other creature. We're all made from the same stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. As always, Mark, good to chat with you. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, you as well. Thank you very much for having me on.
Absolutely. And if I find some shamanistic, magical way of energy marketing, I will let you know.
Okay, well, I'll do the same. We'll trade.
Awesome. Yeah, we may have to create an energy circle around that and start, putting that out there as the intention. Yeah. So don't forget to, right? Don't forget to like the video, everyone, and share it for those that you feel would benefit from it. We really appreciate you. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, have a beautiful evening. And until next time, Mark.
Okay.